Over the course of a century, 5 brothers managed to shape a large portion of today's Southwest. David, George, William, Charles, and Edward Babbitt took interest in the Southwest as a business venture, but grew to learn that their purchase was more than an economic gain. In the year of 1886, David and William Babbitt began plans to move from Cincinnati, Ohio, to Flagstaff, Arizona. By April, they had placed $100 down for a herd of cattle. Ranching is what drew the Babbitt brothers to this land. Little did they know their business interests would slowly engulf the town of Flagstaff and much of Arizona. The Babbitt brothers would eventually build up their ranch to be called the greatest cattle ranch in the Southwest by the acclaimed writer Earl Forrest. David Babbitt opened a store in Flagstaff, still in operation today. They sold practical items to the community, such as lamps, saddles, hardware, and canned food. However, one item the company began selling were trade blankets from the surrounding Indian trading posts. Currency, unknown to the Native Americans at this time, was replaced by their pottery, jewelry, and blankets in exchange for practical items. Some of these trading posts started in the late 1800s, including Red Lake Trading Post and Arabi Trading Post, both of which were on the Navajo Reservation. The Navajo people became well known for their blanket weaving. To many farmers and ranchers, these blankets were a very practical yet beautiful accessory. Their silverworking was also a useful yet artistic item for farmers and ranchers of the Southwest. C.J. Babbitt, one of the 5 original brothers, became involved in the trading posts through an odd set of circumstances. The trader at Red Lake Trading Post was a young German by the name of Sam Dittenhofer. Sam would come into town and exchange the blankets and crafts he collected from the Navajo in exchange for the practical goods from the Babbitt's mercantile business. In the spring of 1891, Dittenhofer met a young lady in town and attempted to take her back with him to Red Lake. However, after being gone for only a few days, Sam was accosted by another suitor of the young woman and killed in the conflict. Because the Babbitts had lent their goods on credit to this trader, they were now left with a trading post full of their goods and no one around to run the place. C.J. took it upon himself to manage the post and found that he really enjoyed living with and getting to know the Navajo people. C.J. enjoyed the barter system and developed a good business relationship with the Navajo. From C.J.'s efforts at Red Lake, the Babbitts were able to manage trading posts all over Arizona with the Navajo, Hopi, and Apache people. However, in May of 1970, 25 Navajo accused the prominent wealthy Babbitt family of running their ancestors off their land decades past. The lawsuit is brought against the Babbitt Trading Company for $1.2 million for the actions of the Babbitts' old cowhands toward the deceased Navajos. They claimed that their ancestors had been bullied and run off a parcel of their land that was completely surrounded by Babbitt ranching. The suit was turned down by the court, but this case brings up the question whether the Navajos were treated fairly by the Babbitts in their long-term relationship as neighbors and business partners. Were the Native Americans really trading with the white entrepreneurs, or were they more likely being exploited and used? What was the relationship between the Babbitt Brothers Trading Company and the Navajo? Were the Navajo people being exploited or used for the Babbitt brothers' personal economic gain?
What people on the outside are doing to us is they're forcing us to change in ways that we don't want to change.
We had dealers that would buy for England.
I'm an important part of the Navajo culture, I think, and as being a trader, a lot of people depend on me to buy these rugs.
Where else is the rug maker going to go?
You go back to New York, stand on the corner, and see how long it takes you to sell the rug.
If there's no more sheep, if there's no more farms, if there's no more springs, that's what's going to kill our language. That's what's going to kill our culture.
Despite the tensions that may have arisen among the Babbitt Brothers Trading Company and the Navajo over land or resources, they were able to develop a cooperative relationship in which both parties benefited from the trading posts in the Southwest. The five Babbitt brothers had profound impact not only on the Navajo Nation but on the Flagstaff area. They became extremely influential in the economics, politics, and social construction of northern Arizona.